This is your host, Jason Snellgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going today?
Oh, going good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Just trying to recuperate from a weekend full of volleyball.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
My daughter plays high school volleyball, and we had our state tournament this weekend, and it has been steady running up and down the road.
Oh, for sure. No, that makes sense.
But
Did they do any good?
second place.
Okay. Well, ain't bad.
This is I think their sixth year in a row playing for the state championship, either winning it or coming in second.
Well, you can't be too mad about those results.
No, they're doing something right when it comes to volleyball. That's for sure. To get in the state championship game 6 years in a row, that I think they won it three or 4 years in a row, and then they have a pretty fierce competitor over around Seneca, Missouri, that they kind of go tit for tat back and forth all through the year with, and we ended up playing them again this year in the final game, and it was kind of that way right down to the wire type thing, you know, for them.
I gotcha.
For them to win it. So
Yep.
what you been up to?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Just pheasant hunting this weekend. I put in garage doors for a living, so I'm doing some of that and everything. And I don't know, harvest is sort of wrapping up around here, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I've already hit record, so why don't you, for somebody that wouldn't know who you are, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, my name is Wyatt Monen. I'm from way up in far northwest corner of Iowa, right by Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That's about all I've got for you. I coon hunt, and it's pretty ate up about it.
So, do you have a pretty healthy coon population up there?
It's hit or miss. We've got some pretty darn nice spots.
Yeah.
But there's also, some spots that get tougher. In the wintertime, a lot of times they'll start moving out of the bigger woods and getting up in the farm groves around the silage piles and whatnot.
Yeah. Are they pretty good sized coons that you got up there though?
Oh yeah, we got monster coons.
Yeah, I bet.
They're big for sure. Yeah, they about to start packing on pounds this time of year, about like a bear almost sometimes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you start seeing them hit on the road a lot more. They're all hustling around trying to get corn ate and everything before winter and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they got plenty to eat up there to get big, so.
Oh, yeah, that's a fact. We got plenty of good creeks and rivers too, and that's they got plenty of corn. They got plenty of crops, everything to eat.
So,
feed for animals.
What kind of terrain is it? Is it flat or river bottom or?
So it kind of changes a little bit. So a lot of the stuff that I hunt, it's kind of hilly. It's a lot of river bottom, but there's not a road for, a ways from a river a lot of the times. It's a lot of rolling hills, and some of them are a little bit steeper. There's spots on the river that get pretty flat, but usually if it gets flat on one side, it gets a little rougher on the other. At least the stuff I usually hunt. So.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well. We where I live at, I'm mainly in the edge of the Ozark Mountains here, and I have a couple spots that are pretty good, but I have to drive about 45 minutes to an hour to really get into some decent hunting, where it's not pretty much up and down, all night.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't mind the hills too much. I've got some spots that are pretty hilly, but there's a lot of coons in them. That's where I take a lot of casts there, and some people don't like that, getting put in the hills.
Yeah.
But it's really nice having big, safe woods with plenty of coons. And yeah, the hills are they do kind of suck sometimes,
yeah.
But it's good hunting anyways. So.
I don't know about y'all's, but like in the summertime, I'd almost rather hunt the hills and the big woods because you don't have all that crazy underbrush in it as bad. At least here, we don't. You can kind of get around. Once you get off the creeks, it kind of clears up where you can actually move around a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same way around here. We've got a couple of the big spots that I hunt. Yeah, they're real similar to that. doesn't grow over as much, being the canopy kind of covers everything. So
Yeah.
we get some cedar trees that gets kind of thick, and that's not the most fun all the time. But we don't have near as much of that multiflora rose and then thorn bushes as like the rest of Iowa does.
Yeah.
So we're pretty fortunate in that sense, I'd say.
Yeah. So you've been on, I know, at least one other podcast before, maybe more than one, but I know for sure one. And I wanted to get you on, it just hadn't worked out to get you on, and we talked here a week or two ago or whatever, and I thought, well, I'll reach out to Wyatt, see if he's got any time to jump on and record with me. And you made it to the Final Four of the UKC World in 2022, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did. Hey, by the way, I appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate it a bunch. I like doing them, to tell you the truth. I have a good time with them usually. So
yeah. Well, it's just good to get on, talk dogs, and I know you've been on. I think he was on with Josh, and he does a good job with what he does. And sometimes things just kind of work around where you can do another one later. And I know you was hunting hawk at that time. When that's the dog you was hunting, right? Whenever you went.
yes, sir. Yep,
yeah.
I was hunting hog. I was also on another one on Houndsman XP with Bryce Matthews. Also was
okay.
another one I was on too.
Yeah.
But
I knew.
But yeah, no, I did the one with Josh. That was great. I like the way both of them guys do their podcasts. Josh and Bryce, they both do great, and I really get a kick out of listening to yours too. You've had a lot of good guests in there. So
yeah. I had Tim Kramer on a few weeks. I really enjoyed that one. That was one I had been looking forward to try to get done, and Tim, was in with John Strickland years ago with Bad Habit and stuff. So I really enjoyed that one for sure.
Yeah, I haven't been traveling a whole heck of a lot, so that's usually when I listen to my podcast. Is when I drive to Indiana or Missouri or something. That's when I usually catch up on all the podcasts I miss. So I haven't got a chance to listen to that one yet, but I know you've had quite a few other good guests on too. So I look forward to listening to that one for sure. So
yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I have a lawn care, landscaping, tree service, and of course our mowing's starting to slow down. So that's when I mainly listen to podcasts, is when I'm mowing. So I had to find time to get caught up for sure, cleaning dog pens or whatever. I get a chance to listen to a few here and there. But
yeah, absolutely. I put in garage doors, so I don't like listening to them so much when I'm putting indoors, because the impacts make a lot of noise. Doing all the metal on metal stuff, and I don't want to miss a good line or something in there. So
yeah.
Usually just turn the radio on and save my podcast for when I got my quiet time to drive and think.
Yeah. So have you always coon hunted? Did you grow up coon hunting?
Pretty much, yeah. I pretty much have. I didn't get real serious into it until I was maybe 13 or 14. And then I really started. I'm 25 now, by the way, but I got bigger into it then. I always started with my dad. He went through a little bit of a low space in it where he didn't really hunt a lot, but for the most part, we've always had dogs around, and I've just been around it my whole life, and that's kind of how I originally got into it. After I graduated high school, I really started pushing the competition hunts. I was more hunting UKC back then, but then about a year after I graduated, I started more shifting towards the PKC side. I still really enjoy going to like the World Hunt and Tournament of Champions. I also really like going out to Autumn Oaks. I don't really hunt Autumn Oaks so much, but I go out there for tier 1, and we sell spoilers out there. So
yeah,
and I want with the UKC stuff, but yeah, PKC is sort of my main go-to.
Yeah, and I want to talk about tier 1 a little bit here in a little bit when we get to it. But let's talk some dogs first. Was Hawk the dog that kind of broke out for you and really started winning, or did you have something before Hawk?
So I had something before Hawk, but I tell you the truth, I really didn't have any money to put him in much. My Clyde dog had been pretty good to me, but he had maybe around 5,000-6,000 won when he passed away. He was 2.5 when he died, and I had won a whole bunch of open hunts and a couple of small pro classics. I had doubled up at super stakes with him. I think I'd made him a grand knight in that time. Had a truck ticket on him, and just stuff like that, the smaller level stuff. I didn't, I was only 19, 20 years old. I didn't have a lot of money to put him in much of the big stuff. But yeah, then I'd had a couple other ones I liked. My Owen dog had done well, and just mainly UKC events. He had a little PKC money one, but he was getting older by the time I was really starting to push up and down the road. I guess I'd handled several other ones for guys that were pretty nice hounds, but then my junior dog, he was really starting to come on, and he was also a nice one. He was also out of my stuff, and yeah, he passed away pretty young too. But Hawk was the first one that I really got to make a good solid run with that I had gotten. He actually wasn't. He was one of the first dogs I actually bought. Other than $500-600 dogs here and there. He was one of the first dogs that cost me a little bit of money that I actually went and bought, and he'd been good to me. I'd say he was a pretty decent investment. He's doing well. I've had quite a few other. I've had several other ones that have done well too, but yeah, definitely not to that extent. But it seemed like we just sort of clicked, honestly.
Yeah, I'd say you probably got a return on your investment there with him. How's Hawk bred?
He's out of What's Up Spot and Daryl Hargis's Slamhound JoJo female. And Daryl just passed away a little over a year ago here. I had actually gave him a pup out of the second cross that we did. I really didn't know Daryl until I started. I'd heard about him, but I really didn't know him well or talk to him much until after I had started doing real well with Hawk. And then I got his number from Paul Wagner, and he was really wanting a pup out of Hawk, and I sent this female down, and it would have been a full sister to my Diablo dog that I'm sort of pushing around a little bit now. And there was only 2 in that cross, and I just gave it to Daryl, and he ended up, so he would sort of start him. He liked fooling with them pups quite a bit and letting them run loose at his place down there. And he was originally from Eastern Illinois, but he moved down to Oklahoma in his older years. But he ended up let that pup run loose and whatnot. But I think that was the last Slamhound dog that he had then. That's what he ended up naming her, I believe, was Slamhound Jasmine. And now Riley Floyd's got her. He sort of hunted Daryl's dogs when they get a little older and started a lot of them, put the finishing touches on a bunch of them towards his later years there. So that's kind of what he's out of. That's what his mother's side is. His father's side, though, What's Up Spot, Paul Wagner ended up with that dog in his older years, but he was originally from Arkansas. But yeah, the boy that hunted him, he unfortunately passed away. I believe it was in a cast. Spot sort of sat for quite a while. He was, a lot of guys that hunted with him down there all told me he was a nice dog. I never personally hunted with Spot, but they all said that he was a really nice dog, and I really haven't heard many people saying a bad word about him, honestly. And then Paul Wagner ended up with him and, hunted him a little bit on the local level, but got him collected and bred him a little bit and did pretty well with him. I saw Spot when he was older, but I never hunted with him. He was about 13 when I actually saw the dog, so.
Yeah. And your Diablo dog is out of Hawk, right?
Yep, my Diablo dog's out of Hawk, and a good friend of mine, Darren DeGroat, he's got a female out of you surely know like Cummings and Minkler and all them down in your area.
Yes. Yeah.
So the female that Diablo is out of, she is out of Mafia and Maxine. So, Cheyenne's Mafia dog and Greg Minkler's Maxine female is what his mother's out of. And yeah, he's out of Hawk, and that's probably about my favorite cross that I've done on it. I don't about rip my hair out with the dog sometimes, but when he wants to be, he's really, really nice, honestly. So
I understand there. I done a podcast last week about don't frustrate yourself, don't frustrate your dog. Especially with the dry weather that we've had, and I want to tell you what, young dogs can look like $1 million, and you're so happy and everything's going good, and then all of a sudden something happens and they make you just want to pull your hair out, pull their hair out, quit coon hunting, the whole 9 yards.
Really. I think a lot of the frustration I had with that dog. So, his mother's side, he's bred to be a little bit hard-headed, honestly, which I like it. You're not gonna blow him up near as easy that way. But the dry weather really wasn't really what frustrated me at all. But I see what you're saying with that. But he's bred really nice as far as having track power and a nose. He smells a lot of stuff that a lot of other dogs don't smell, or picks up on tracks that a lot of dogs don't even know are there. And that when he was real little, it would get a little frustrating sometimes. But that's the dry weather. It seems to almost help him sometimes in some of these, just smaller hunts that I've been putting him in. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm not. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good.
Didn't mean to cut you off there.
I got a buddy who's got a blue English male, and I think it was 2 years ago when they had the zones. It may have been the first year PKC had the zones. Maybe the second year. I don't remember. It was hot. I do remember that. It was like miserable hot in Oklahoma. And he was going to take his. He said, I don't know if I should go Thursday night or wait and go Friday night. I said, man, you should probably just go on for Thursday night. It was dry. And it really played to his advantage. That dog has got a really good nose on him. And he ended up doubling up Thursday night. And I remember him calling me and he said, it's just miserable hot. Down there that weekend, and sometimes it helps. I guess my meaning behind that is, especially with with young dogs you're trying to get started. I've got one dog here that I'm really pushing trying to get started, and it's aggravating. She'll go in and locate and not sure about it, and just the tracks have just been bad. The coons ain't been moving real good here, or they're moving during early afternoon or on up in the morning times, not at night when we need them moving.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's definitely frustrating. But yeah, that he's similar in that sense, and so is Hawk. He really shines when the tracking's tough. When the frost lays down or something, or when when it's real dry out, they sort of shine in there. Diablo looks a lot better when it gets hot out. He looks better than Hawk, and a lot better than Hawk, honestly, when it's hot out, because he's a little bit more. I wouldn't say rattle-headed, but he doesn't. Honestly, I probably would. That's the best word I can come up with for it. He's a little more rattle-headed, and he doesn't really have much slowdown, even if he is getting real hot. Which so you got to be careful with him. You don't want to get him in a field too long or anything, or leave him treed too long, because I don't know if the dog's got enough sense to slow down treeing, where Hawk's the opposite. He'll really slow down treeing and whatnot if he's getting really hot or something. But Diablo, he's just got so much darn drive that he doesn't have any quit in him when it comes to that heat. So you got to watch him, but it's kind of a nice change, honestly, sometimes.
Isn't it amazing how even though he's out of Hawk, he can be so different in different aspects of the way he operates, the way he handles heat. I've got an English dog, a male English dog here, and he kind of sounds like the same as Diablo. He's don't know when to quit. He's wide open. He's wired 440. And then I got another the young female I have, English female I have here. She's wired up, but she's a little more laid back than he is.
Yep. Yeah, my dad's got one right now. Well, he's had him ever since he was a puppy. He's out of Ryan Sears' smallpox dog and Hawk, and he's very similar. Not so much in the way he hunts, but just his tendencies and mannerisms. So one thing, they both roll over on their back and want their bellies petted. They've been like that ever since they were little. And I've hunted with a lot of Hawk's litter mates, and they're all like that too. He's got a head full of sense on him. He's real intelligent. You can teach him anything pretty quick as far as just basic obedience. He's got a real good handle on him, just like Hawk. He balls a little more on the tree, kind of like Hawk. I mean, he'll get into a good chop eventually, but the way he locates too. I mean, he's very similar to Hawk, just his tendencies and mannerisms especially. So yeah. It's interesting to see some of that stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with the female too, what you're breeding to, but there's definitely some similarities in them. Yeah. I see some with Diablo, but I see a lot more with some of the other pups out of him, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to hunt a lot of puppies. I would like getting a little pup and starting it and getting it to about a place where it needs to be singled out and finished out type thing, and then I was pretty much done. And the older I've got, the less I like doing that. I'd rather get one that's a little bit older and kind of polish on it a little bit and get it going and try to have something, that I can hunt. And uh, when you mess with those puppies, there's just you take a litter of puppies, and this one will be this way, and then the same litter mate will be a completely different way. It's just amazing to me how that happens.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely ran into that. I think we had, well, I wouldn't say one of each, but we had all sorts of different ones that, when I bred Clyde's litter, I owned his mother, and Paul Gibson owned the sire of that dog. He's from out there in Indiana, a good friend of mine. But, anyways, it was about like you're saying there. They were all totally different. Every one of those pups out of that litter, some of them shined in their own way. I mean, Clyde was by far the best one out of the litter, with the most. I don't know if they all would have had the same potential, but I know he definitely got the most hunting and everything. And I don't know, they were all different though. We had some that were more trailing type, and some that were running type, and there's a couple that were a little bit lazier in there. But yeah, there was some there were just all kinds of kinds, honestly. But there was a couple that were definitely pretty nice. I think 3 of them out of that litter ended up having money won on them. But there was only 5 in it. But yeah, nothing like Clyde, what he had done. But yeah, that was another deal. There was, like, he was stone silent, and the littermate female that I had kept, she was wide open damn near. So it's it's different. You never know what you're gonna get sometimes out of some of them crosses.
I don't know if Matthew Brewster has a littermate sister to my male English dog, and me and him's talked before, and she's a ball mouth on track, chop on tree. My creeper dog that I hunt, he is 100% chop mouth on the track, no locate other than maybe a double or triple bark if you catch it. Just come treed. There's a lot of times he'll be trailing, and people say, "Hey, that dog's treating." No, he's still moving, and it's just weird how they have those different mouths out of the same litter. You think there'd be a little bit more consistency, or in my mind, I would think there'd be a little more consistency in the litter of what their mouths would be like.
Yeah, no. So now that you bring up the mouth part of it, and we actually, so about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I bred probably about actually right at a year ago, honestly. I had done a surgery breeding on a female to Diablo. I didn't want to start live breeding him yet or anything. And the female she's a nice female from up around here, but she's a littermate to like the Dustin Weeds out dog and the bit dog that Logan Ray's hunting. So she's bred real nice on top of it all. But we had a litter out of those two, and I don't know how many there was, if there was 8 or 10 or something, but a lot of them are real different. Some of them will have, she's a little bit more of a racy looking type dog, and Diablo's a lot more houndy looking. So some of them will be a little bit, some of them got really long ears, some of them got some shorter ears and the smaller heads. But yeah, some of them are just chopping all the way, and some of them are big ballin', squalling mafia type mouths, I call it. So it's really, it's kind of interesting to see. That's what I was thinking of when you brought up them 2 litter mates that are just totally different on as far as their mouth goes.
Yeah. Well, obviously, living where I live, I've hunted with Stogie a few times, and I drew Cheyenne. Oh, it's been probably a month or so ago with Bugs, that young dog he's got that he's hunting.
Mm-hmm.
The mouths are completely different, and then I have a female here at the house, a young female that I picked up that's at a shack, and a Mr. Clean female. And her mouth is more like the Bugs dog than it is Stogie. It's just wild how that happens.
Yeah, I haven't hunted with Bugs yet or anything, but I talked to Shy a little bit out there at Autumn Oaks, and he seemed to like him quite a bit.
He's got a good mouth on him. I'll tell you that. You won't have no trouble hearing him.
Well, that's good. I know Shaq always had a big old cannon on him, and I know a lot of them out of Mafia were like that, had a voice like that. I don't know if Mafia was more prominent in what he was throwing for mouth, or if it was just, sample size or what it was. But I really am a big fan of that mouth, honestly, that big screaming squall that they throw.
Yeah. I've never hunted with Shaq or Mafia. The only ones I've hunted with I've hunted Stogie several times, of course, like I said, living where I live. I mean, Ronnie would come up or Cheyenne would come up, or and then now hunting with Bugs. And when I heard that dog open his mouth, I said, Cheyenne, is he at a shack? And he said, yeah, he's at a shack. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I'd only ever hunted with Stogie up to that point, and I've hunted with some other puppies, but nothing that sounded like that. I mean, he's got a really good mouth. He's gonna be a nice dog.
Oh, that's good. No, I don't know. Stogie's the minority, but yeah, I definitely know he's not. He doesn't have the stereotypical mouth that that line usually has for sure. But he's definitely a nice dog. I'm not saying anything like that. He just definitely doesn't have that mouth that a lot of those mafia and shack dogs do have. You know, that big scream and squall. So that's interesting though. But yeah, he's definitely a coon dog for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt.
But
So Diablo, I want to talk about Tier 1 for sure before we get off here. As I told you, and I'll tell anybody, if anybody asks me about a coon squaller, that's the only coon squaller I recommend. I use it. I know it works. So I want to talk about that. But
I really appreciate it.
Diablo, you've done a little winning with Diablo, right?
Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. I'm kind of so I was just at a hunt this weekend on Friday, and someone was asking why I hadn't brought Hawk, and I said, well, there's a reason I brought this one. He's been looking a lot, to tell you the truth, a lot better than Hawk lately here. I'm not saying like side by side. I'm saying like more overall. He's a different style. I don't want to say different style 100%, but I mean, he's different than him, but he's tough. I like him a lot. He strikes a little better. He gets treed a little more often. He hunts around dogs a little more, which it can be frustrating sometimes, but a lot of times where you see one coon, there's two, especially if you're hunting where, there's more coons, in like Iowa, Missouri, and Indiana, stuff like that. And that's one thing I really, really like about him. But he's been looking. I've been hunting him together quite a bit, and he's, Hawk's the same old Hawk that he's always been. You can't beat his consistency. But when Diablo's on, holy cow, he'll throttle Hawk. I mean, I like him quite a bit. I'm really looking forward to pushing him around. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, stays around and nothing crazy happens like what can happen out there hunting. But he's looking pretty nice. He's got around probably 8,001 in PKC. He did well at the Pro Slam out there at Autumn Oaks down in Cross Plains. That's the only time I hunted him out there that week. He did well in that. Got just a UKC win, but it picked up a little bit of money there on that front too. My friend Ryan Sears has handled him a little bit for me. He got him qualified for the World Hunt, or not qualified. Got him through the zones to the finals of the World Hunt. And yeah, he's doing a little bit. This is his first big year. He had won a little bit last year. I got him into the $2,500 Pro Classic last fall about this time, and I'm gonna be heading out to another one and next weekend, I guess it is. And hopefully try to finish him to gold out there. He's just knocking on the door of it. So we'll see what happens. You never know. I'm pretty relieved. He's really kind of molding into a pretty nice dog. We had some hiccups when he was younger, being he ran loose so long. He was down there at Tyler Compton's place. A good friend of mine, best friend of mine actually. He was down there running loose at his place. And I think he ran loose just a little too long, so I had some issues with him going back to trees and recutting sometimes when he was real little, but we've got a lot of that ironed out, and I'm really looking forward to his future. I think he's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah,
so
sounds like it, and sounds like he's definitely been hot and heavy and after it as of late for sure. I know some other people had talked to me about the dog and was interested in maybe even trying to buy him, but I didn't figure you would part with him. So
yeah, I don't know if I would or not. It probably depend on the day if I'm mad at him or if I'm in love with him.
Well, I'm gonna tell you from experience. My English male's sitting out here in the pen, and I parted with him on a day I was mad, and it took me 6 months to get him bought back. And I probably would part with him again if I was mad, but
Yep.
I'm gonna have to be mad for a couple of days in a row this time to part with him, because what if you got one you like, it is tough to find something to replace them. I just tell you.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah, it's I've got a couple other pretty nice females out here. I shouldn't say nice, but they've got a lot of potential to them, and they're the ones suffering from it that I've got, Hawk and Diablo right now, because I think I've still got another decent year out of Hawk. I mean, I'm not going to push him as hard as I have, but I think he's got a decent year or two of, still hitting some of the big hunts. He's qualified for about everything yet, so he's got a couple year or two left of probably hitting the big hunts. I'm still trying to keep him in decent shape. I mean, we're transferring a little bit more to just not just breeding him, but breeding him a little bit more. And I don't know. I've got him and I've got Diablo, and I like hunting those two a lot. And I got a couple females that are kind of suffering from it, honestly. I'm not hunting them near as much as I should, and they'd probably honestly be just as good a dog. The one's actually a litter mate, or not a litter mate, a full sister to Diablo out of a younger cross, and she showed me a lot of stuff I really like. We got one out of Diablo that she's going to be coming a year pretty soon here. I don't think she's quite ready to start, but they're the ones that suffer from me hunting those two, though. Honestly, I mean, it's when you get a couple that you like and that you're trying to work on and just get dialed in, it's pretty tough to get, it's pretty tough to get the other ones the time they deserve, honestly.
yeah, trust me, I understand. My creeper dog, I like the way he hunts, and honestly, I could probably get rid of everything else I got and just hunt him for a while. Maybe end up with a puppy out of him, here or there or whatever, and probably be just as happy as with what I got sitting in the pen up there. But this shack female I got up there, I really like her. She's a small, tight built dog, and when you unsnap her, you just get out of the way, because she's fixing to blow the country. I mean, she will flat move, and she cuts the woods up good, and gets deep if she has to. I've not had her very long, but I like what I'm seeing out of her. She's treeing some coons, and seems to be pretty accurate when she does park. So I'm liking that, and then my other English female, she just turned a year old, but she's been running track for a long time. But she's starting to locate a little bit now, like she's wanting to try to start treeing. But she's out of an old semen cross, so I wasn't really expecting her to. I really wasn't expecting her to do what she's already done. So I just when the tracks got bad here and it's gotten dry, we ain't had no rain and I don't know how long. I just kind of put her up and worked on some other things and messed with that little bit older dog and my creeper dog, just hunting him in some local hunts and stuff. Um,
Yeah, for sure. No, it's always nice to have some up and comers though too. But yeah, it's tough to juggle a bunch of them. I mean, unless that's all you do is hunt. I mean, it's tough to juggle 3, 4 dogs around and try to keep them all, hunted up as much as they should be, honestly.
it is when you have to work a full time job. It is. We all can't coon hunt for a living. I wish we could, but when you're having to
Yeah,
work and
absolutely.
got kids in school and coaching sports and stuff like that, it definitely makes it tough to keep them hunted up.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's part of it. It is still a hobby, but yeah, a lot of guys, myself included, I mean, I take it pretty darn serious and sometimes lose track of what really matters sometimes and just focus on them coon dogs. But no, it's definitely tough. You gotta keep yourself in check sometimes on it for sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not.
Well,
But,
I I told you about 30 minutes or an hour, and I want to make sure we got plenty of time to talk about it. We've already, I know it's hard to believe, but we already been going over 30 minutes. So I
oh, no
want,
kidding.
yeah, and I want to talk tier one custom calls. I was trying to remember when I got my first. It was when Lane and Tyler were still together with Tier One, and I ordered a comp pack, and I knew there was something different about the Squaller. The first night I went out, I've been using this other Squaller, and I would see some coons, and it worked, but I was hunting a Schooner River bred Walker dog, and it was in the summertime, and I started blowing that Squaller, and that coon come down the tree like a rocket, and I thought,
Yeah.
what in the world? And I could just about take you to the tree. And I thought that was just coincidence. And then he gets treed again in a different place on a different night, and it happens again. And my buddy and sometimes co-host on here, Brett Stevens, we hunt together some, and he had this young female out of his loner male, and they treed on a leaning tree over a creek, and you could see the coon up there, and it was probably this time of year, around October, November-ish, and I said, "You want me to squall that coon out for that pup?" And he said, "You can't squall that coon out." I said, "Well, you just hold on to that dog. Let me show you." And I started hitting that squaller, and that coon Superman out of that tree just about onto him. And whenever it was all over with, we got back to the truck, he said, "I got to have the name of that squaller because I will be ordering one tomorrow. I've never seen anything like that." So I want you to talk about Tier 1 and kind of talk about the different calls that y'all have and what you carry, what you sell, and if there's something that you know that sets y'all apart different from other people, talk about that. Because I'm telling you, if someone asked me, hey, what coon squaller, like I reached out to you about this memorial deal they're doing, they asked me, and I said, well, I'll ask them. I said, because I only recommend stuff that I use and I know that works. And
yeah, for sure, and we appreciate that for sure.
The year that Tyler and Jenna won the world, I drew Tyler Saturday night at the zones, and we were squalling one of Jenna's tree, and a kitten just about jumped out of the tree that night. So this squaller works. When you want a coon to look, this squaller will work. So I'm gonna just give you the floor, let you talk about it, kind of explain what y'all got going on, and try to help spread the word.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support with it. It was so it's kind of a long story, honestly, how it was a big roundabout way that I ended up getting in with it. So I had met Josh down in Missouri, and I believe my friend Darren that owns Diablo's mother, I think he had mentioned me picking him up a squaller from Josh one of the times I was going to Missouri, and I think I would have been maybe 17 or 18 at the time. I think 18. And I went down there and I picked one up for myself too, and I really liked it. I thought it put out a really good pitch and sound, and that's where Tier 1 actually came from, was from Josh. It was originally Big Show Game Calls, and I always promoted them and supported it too. I really enjoyed mine. I still use that same squaller actually that I bought from Josh. I have another one of my own now that I tune the reeds a little bit different in each one. So the one's a little bit raspier and the one's a little bit higher pitched, so you can do a little bit more with them. Make them sound like, anywhere from a real light kitten chatter all the way up to a big boar coon fight. So I've got one for each of those. But anyways, I saw that Josh, I don't remember what year it would have been, but that Josh was going to be done with it, with the making squallers. And I saw that post on Facebook, and I messaged him or called him right away, and I wanted to buy it, and he said it's already sold now. Which he didn't even post it for sale. He had just said that he was done with it, and that ended up being when Tyler and Lane had bought it. And then I saw where they posted it a year or two later, actually, and I called Tyler and Lane, and I worked something out and ended up buying half of it, and me and Tyler are partners on it now, and it just worked out, I guess. It's easy enough for me to throw a few squallers in whenever I go to a hunt. I'm always was promoting them beforehand anyway, so I might as well be, selling them, I figure, while I'm out there. I never did really get up and going with making the custom calls after I got into it. Tyler was pretty darn busy too, with his new baby. Not baby anymore. Now he's a toddler, Walker. But he was pretty busy with all that, and just ended up. Now he's, Walker's getting a little older, so Tyler's back and helping out with it a little bit. And we got the Phoenix and the Pinnacle is the only two that we've got at the moment. The Phoenix is the one with our patented signature reed design, though. It's sort of set up like a duck call. Honestly, it's got a tone board in there, and it doesn't work exactly like a normal squalor. You kind of got to play around with it. I've had people that can't make it sound good before, but I've had a lot of people that couldn't make a squalor sound good, ever try one. And they said, whatever that reed is, it works out good. And like people that duck hunt also, they usually have pretty good success with it. That it's not as simple sometimes just blowing into it. You got to figure out how much back pressure to put onto it and everything else. But that's why that was why I ended up really wanting to be in on the business, was just because of that reed system and how much I liked it and how much success I've seen with it. I mean, just the way it can pull coons up out of a den tree in the wintertime or the early spring, and the way it makes them coons move in the summertime. I mean, that's why I really wanted in on it, honestly, was because I didn't ever want to see that reed system die out. And I used it long before I ever bought into it. And yeah, that's kind of a lot of it. And they're all 2-piece calls. That's what sets our Pinnacle apart from everyone else's. It's going to give a similar sound. It'll be a little different being ours is acrylic. But it's 2-piece calls. So, when you blow a reed out, it's super simple. Just to, I can ship you out a new reed and just pop it in and out, and then you're good to go again.
Yeah.
Both of them are like that. So.
And I got a sandwich bag in my vest. I got a razor vest, and I've got an extra reed I keep in there because it's so simple. You can just do it right there in the woods. I mean, it's nothing to it to change those
absolutely.
out. And it's just I don't know. Y'all don't sponsor me, and I have no reason to be tooting anybody's horn whatsoever. But when something works, it just works. We last year, I think it was last year this time, we had me and a couple of guys had created this Knockout Kennel Club, which is a one-on-one style hunt, and we were hunting in that, and Braxton Wheels and Jeremiah Roller were in the finals of it, and Braxton had I think he was hunting queen. She got treed, and coon was down in a holler, and I hit that squaller, and he poked his head up and looked. And I mean, I can just tell you time after time after time that I know for sure the coons, I may not have seen them, or I wouldn't have seen them if I wouldn't have had that squaller.
No, absolutely. No, I'm in the same boat. I go to quite a few big events, honestly, and about everybody nowadays got a thermal, and my dad has a pretty nice Zeiss thermal that I borrow from him once in a while for like the World Hunt or Nationals, but that's about all I'll borrow it for. If I'm going to the Pro Classics or any other bigger events, I usually just pack my squaller with me. But it looks like I always carry a thermal because I've got a water pouch I carry on my belt. I don't usually wear a vest or nothing. I'm still stuck in the lanyard age. But anyways, people ask me sometimes what kind of thermal I got. I said, "Oh, that's just my water bottle." I just had a fellow the other day said, "I've seen you squall before. You don't need a thermal."
Well,
so
I've got a Sidewinder, thermal AGM Sidewinder. And I can tell you right now, I have found more coons with that squaller than I ever have with that thermal. I still don't understand the thermal. I mess with the settings. I've had Zach out down at Conky's help me with it some, and them guys are great down there to help you when you need help. And I'll call him or I'll text him and say, "Zach, what do I need to do here?" And it's just been so aggravating to try to get the settings right in that thing when I can just pick that squaller up, and it's pretty easy to see them when they're there. If they're there, you can usually find them with that squaller.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean with those thermals too, they're definitely a great tool to have on your belt for sure. But I mean, if the coon's on the other side of a limb or something, or through a bunch of leaves, I mean, you're probably he might not even pick up in that thermal anyways. Where if you can get him moving around and get him to look, or get him to where you can catch a glimpse of some fur, that's almost more helpful sometimes. But no, those thermals definitely nice to have. But yeah, I mean, you got a good squaller, you can definitely make the coons move around and get a good view on them and stuff.
Yeah, and y'all still selling the comp packs, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, we still sell the comp packs. They've got it's a braided lanyard with the Pinnacle and the Phoenix. And then they've got a whistle and a stopwatch on them also. The way I don't carry a whistle. I don't whistle break any of my dogs. I know a lot of guys do though. So that's why we sort of threw that on there. But so like on mine, I carry two Phoenixes and two stopwatches on mine, just in case I have a battery die or a reed go out. And I've got both the reeds tuned just slightly different, like I mentioned earlier. And that's kind of how I set mine up. But yeah, we sell them as the combo. It's got the lanyard, stopwatch, whistle, and then both of our squallers, the Phoenix and the Pinnacle. And that's actually, Tyler actually found his winner. So I think he had the cast wrapped up in anyways, but this last coon, he found it with a Pinnacle actually. I don't give the Pinnacles enough credit that they deserve. They're a good squaller, absolutely, but it's that standard JC reed. You know, our Phoenix is what I really push and what I'm good at selling, honestly, because that's what I use and everything. So
yeah, that's the Phoenix is the one I use the most. Now, don't get me wrong, I've found coons with both squallers, no doubt, but the Phoenix is my go-to squaller. That's the one I'm grabbing, especially if it's a big leafy tree or viney mess where I really try to get a coon to look. That's the squaller I'm gonna have and I'm gonna be blowing.
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that too. Again, I appreciate all the support you give us with the squallers, and that's kind of why I wanted to get in on it, just because I'm such a believer in them, honestly, in the first place. So, but no, I've had a lot of guys tell me they've had great success with their Pinnacles, and a lot of guys, they strictly order Pinnacles from me. They don't get along real well with the Phoenix. They can't make it sound good or something, so they like them Pinnacles, and they are a good squaller. The Pinnacle is, it's super nice too to be able to just pop it apart and replace your reeds. But yeah, I've got a lot of guys, they prefer the sound of that one, and that's great, and that's why we've got both of them here for sure.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to order a comp pack, but they wanted to customize it, is that something y'all do, or do they have to order the comp pack and then order the extra stuff, or?
We could probably work something out if they wanted to give me my number's on our website and everything. And, our website's tier1customcalls.com. And, there's also links on Facebook and everything else too. We've got a Facebook page, Tier 1 Custom Calls LLC. And, but no, we could work something out, I'm sure, with customizing one or something, or, if someone doesn't need the whistle, it might knock a little bit off of it or something. But yeah, most of the time I think it's set up pretty darn good. Most people are pretty happy with what's on it. But yeah, if anyone would want to customize it, I mean, that's absolutely something we could do for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd have to be ordered a little bit different, because the comp packs are a little bit better buy than if you buy everything pieced out separately individually. So
right. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm happy with mine. I need to probably upgrade my stopwatch. Matter of fact, the last time I seen Tyler, we were hunting. He's like, "Man, you need to upgrade that stopwatch." That's one of the first. I've got one of probably the first stopwatches they put on them things whenever they come out. It still works though, so I keep using it.
Sure.
Other than I bump the buttons walking and it'll go off, in my truck or something on the way home. But
yeah, for sure. We got to buy them in bulk. We can't afford to put a $30 Robic on every one of them. We'd lose money then. So
yeah.
That's what I've upgraded mine to. I still do keep a couple of those ones that we put on the comp packs. I do keep a couple of those around. If someone forgets a stopwatch, they're great backups to have around. But I definitely wouldn't want to swim a river with it tied across my neck, I guess.
Yeah.
And hope that it's waterproof.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So is the best way for people to order to just go online to the website and order there, or reach out to you, or?
Yep, online on the website's great, and then you'll get a shipping number, or a tracking number with a confirmation email, and that's a great way. But yeah, if people aren't, if it's easier for people, we can definitely accept. I mean, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, everything. I've worked stuff out with guys that don't have any of that stuff and aren't very tech savvy. I've worked it out where they'll tell me their address and they've sent a check before. We make it work. It's not like it's a super big strict business or anything. We'll work with people. We're more than happy to. So no, but yeah, the website's definitely the ideal way to to get calls ordered for sure.
Now, have y'all shut down the custom site, or are y'all just not doing it right now? I'm going to pick it back up later.
We still got all the stuff here for it. We haven't done anything with it since I've got into it. Like I said, Tyler, busy with his newborn boy and whatnot and stuff like that. But now he was mentioning some ideas out there at Oaks and stuff about, different ideas for it, but it is kind of on idle right now. But we do still have all the stuff for it. But yeah, we haven't been doing any of that for recent past or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But I've seen a lot of them that Lane made, and a lot of them that Josh made too before it was Tier 1. And yeah, there's a lot of really sharp looking ones out there for sure. I never did end up getting one for myself. I just used my original acrylic call that I got. But no, they're definitely nice to look at. But yeah, they're a lot more. They're just as functional as the acrylic one. But yeah, a lot of people have them just as a collector's piece, more or less.
Yeah, I was going to actually order a custom one, and it was like right in, I guess, that time frame. Maybe Josh was thinking about selling it and shutting it down or whatever, and then I never did get one ordered, and kind of kicked myself that I didn't go ahead and do that.
Yeah, for sure. No, they're. I'd like to get something worked out with them at some point. Honestly, if there's anyone listening to this podcast that's done work with duck calls in the past, I mean, I'm sure it's similar to that. Honestly, is what I've heard, is someone that's made predator calls before in the past and is good with a lathe. If they'd want to reach out to, and we'd work something out with maybe even getting blanks, molded down into it, and then we'd just tune the reeds and do all that stuff. That'd be a possibility too that we've thrown around a little bit. So, but yeah, we're still definitely going strong on the acrylics, getting the, so people still do have that functionality of it for sure. So that's where we really try to focus, make sure to try to keep pushing them out for sure. So, but yeah, we've definitely had talk about the custom side of it, but yeah, they are very time consuming for sure when you do the customs.
Yeah. I can see that for sure, but the ones that you have, they work, and like I said, I could sit here for half the night telling stories, and if Brett was here, he would be saying the same thing. And he got one, and that's about all he will use now. And we got another buddy got him using it now, and it's just a great cause, a great product, and y'all just been great to work with. I had a reed go bad. I reached out to you. I had reeds in a couple of days, and I ordered some extra ones, and I keep those in my vest, like I said. And it's just been a great product to have. Of all my coon hunting gear, one thing for sure is I know I can always rely on that squaller whenever I go to the woods to be there and be functional.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. We definitely appreciate the support on it too. We really appreciate that. I've had plenty of guys tell me that you or Brett have reached out and said that, this is what they'd get, and we'll help set them up and stuff. So we definitely appreciate all the support and references for sure. That's real helpful.
Yeah, well,
that's what this is a lot based on. A lot of this coon hunting stuff, we're a pretty tight knit community, so a lot of it is kind of word of mouth and stuff like that. So
yeah, sure. Well, I mean, people ask, hey, what do you think about this product? What do you think about that product? And a lot of times I'll just say, I don't know. I could say I heard this or I heard that, but with this particular product, I've been using it long enough to now that I know Brett's been using it long enough now that he knows this is a product that works. And if I'm in a big hunt, big entry fee hunt, they're fixing to have that big $10,000 entry fee hunt over here in Oklahoma. If I'm going to the woods, I'm probably packing a thermal, but I'm packing that Tier 1 call before I'm packing that thermal, because I know that if that coon's there, I can probably get him to look with that call.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's a friend of mine actually, Zach Reeves. He owns the Josie Wales dog. He had I think when I had first got in with Tier 1, he had bought I don't know how many squallers from me. He would just forget it at home. And he would buy one at about every hunt, and he said that several times that it really helped him. He'd buy the squaller from me at the event before he'd head to the woods, because he'd have his other one, he'd forgot it in his other truck or something along the lines. And there's several times he'd squalled coons out of dens. I know one or two of them surely give him the cast win, but squall coons out of dens that he never would have found if he hadn't had his squaller with him. And that's why he, if he does forget it, he's definitely making sure to pick up another one from me. I mean, it's definitely interesting to see. There's actually a cast I won. I had drawn him. I had sold him a squaller earlier that day, and then I had drawn him. And then I squalled the coon out of the den for him, which I still ended up winning. But yeah, that sure could have cost me the hunt, squalling his coon out of the den for him.
Well, and when we talk about competition hunting, we have a lot of expensive gear. I mean, boots are expensive, lights are expensive, the tracking systems are expensive. All the even vest or whatever you wear. All that stuff is not very cheap. Most of
they're not giving that stuff away.
Most of it's pretty expensive, and probably the cheapest thing that we tote on us is a squaller. Well, we might as well spend the money and get you a good one that works, and whether you buy the comp pack or buy them individually, these squallers work. They will find coons when they're there. Like I said, I've seen it too many times. I won a cast here. Oh, it's been a couple of weeks ago. I hunted early round. We didn't do any good. We never seen a coon. We made a couple of trees, but we never seen a coon. And then late round, my dog gets treed by herself. I wait for the cast to get there, and we start shining. I hit that squaller about 3 times, and the coon come down the tree like a rocket.
Yep.
And he was up in this big bushy viney mess that we would have never seen him if he would have just sat there. So
yep, for sure.
It works. And that's just a $55 open event, but still it's $55, and that squaller won me that cast.
Oh, absolutely. No, and that's another thing too that guys ask us about. And like out there at Autumn Oaks, there might be maybe one or two other people once in a while that'll set up a booth, but we're the only ones that are year after year, the only ones out there. Then we're the only ones selling just squallers. All the vendors have some squallers sitting up there, but a lot of those are, a lot of those guys, it's not a bad product by any means. I'm not running down anybody's squallers. I don't want to be doing that or anything. A lot of people make great products too, but we're the only ones that are out there year after year set up for the full duration of the event selling just squallers. A lot of those, a lot of the supply companies incorporate squallers with their stuff, but we're the only ones that are out there doing it just squallers, because it actually, they actually work. We really believe in them, and we've had pretty good success with them. So it's that's one big difference that I've pointed out a couple times, to different guys that have asked about it. So
yeah, that's one thing I will say. When you go to Tier 1 Custom Calls website, you're going to look at squallers, comp packs, reeds, and then I think every once in a while y'all might have a T-shirt or something on there with your logo.
Yeah, for sure. I actually got to order some more. We're starting to run a little low on the XLs, but now I've still got T-shirts. But yeah, gray and black T-shirts, and then coon squallers and stopwatches. Yeah, with comp packs also. So
yeah, you're not going to look at boots and lights and all that stuff. It's y'all have y'all's niche. Y'all stayed in y'all's lane, and I think y'all have got a great product and is really pushing a good product here. And not to say that you can't venture out into other things. It's just amazing to me. Y'all have kind of stayed in your niche and it's worked for you, this whole time, and you just continue to put out a good product.
Yeah, for sure. No, we definitely appreciate everyone that's gave us all the support on it too, and everyone that keeps, we have a lot of repeat customers. We'd like to thank all them and people that really help us promote it. You guys included, and yeah, it's we definitely appreciate it, and it's been good to us for sure. So.
Yeah. Well, I told you I try to keep you right around an hour, and we are literally at 59 minutes and 42 seconds. So
oh, sure, that works. I appreciate you having me on here. Sorry if people got sick of hearing talking about squallers, but
hey, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here is because like I said, I've got a product, another product from a different vendor that I'm using right now, and if the product works as it says it will, I'll be talking about it in the future. But when it's something that works that I've used, I don't mind. I don't talk about stuff if I don't know that it works, and I use it. And this is a product that I've used day after day, year after year, night after night, pleasure hunting, comp hunting, whatever. When I leave my house, I have a bag that I bought from Conkeys that all my stuff goes in, and that squaller. I'm almost in a panic if I can't find that squaller. I have to have that squaller with me when I go. It's definitely a good product, and it's a good tool to have out there in the woods. But why don't you real quick one more time plug the website, your business page, and your personal page, how people can get a hold of you.
Yes, sir. No, so it's Tier 1 Custom Calls. So tier and then the number 1 customcalls.com. And then we're also on Facebook, Tier 1 Custom Calls LLC. And then you'll also be able to get a hold of me at my Facebook page, Wyatt Monen, and my business partner, Tyler Compton. He could sure help you get set up too. I believe it's my number on the website at this time. So, if you need my number, feel free to reach out to me, or I'm sure Jason or Brett could give you a hand with that also, or, anything. I'm not too hard to find.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if somebody's needing to get a hold of them and can't get a hold of them, reach out to me, and I'll put you in contact with them. If you're out there and you thinking, man, I'd like to try a different squaller, for sure, buy your last squaller from Tier 1 Custom Calls. I'm telling you, you won't buy another squaller. You might buy another one of theirs, but you won't buy another squaller once you get this one. It's a good product. They stand behind it. Couple of good guys running the company, and we are here at the Coonhound Collective podcast the only squaller we recommend to anybody out there, and I've tried a bunch of them, so trust me, this is a good product, a good squaller. Wyatt, I appreciate you taking time this afternoon to jump on the podcast. I really was excited about getting you on, talking some dogs, and definitely talking about these squallers in y'all's business and helping spread the word. Not that y'all need any help, but helping y'all spread the word even more to more people, and hopefully your phone will start ringing next week, and you'll be selling more squallers.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we'll have a little bump in a little bump in orders next week for sure. But no, I appreciate you having me on here. And like I said, I enjoy listening to yours when I'm going, driving down the road. And that's, another thing too. I'm a long ways away from a lot of these big events, and that's just, that's part of it. I'm pretty well used to it. But yeah, I really enjoy you and a lot of those other content creators too that make podcasts and stuff about coonhounds. I really enjoy listening to it, and yours is definitely a good one, and I really appreciate it, and I appreciate having the privilege of being on here with you, Jason.
Well, thanks, buddy, and I appreciate the kind words about the podcast, and hopefully I'll get to shake your hand at a hunt here in the near future. I'm going to hit the road probably here over the winter, maybe into the spring, and maybe we can bump into each other somewhere along the way, and I can shake your hand and meet you face to face.
Yes, sir. No, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate it. Thanks again, Jason.
All right, buddy. Have a good evening.
Yep, you too. We'll talk to you later.
Bye. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast, or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.